Hey everybody, this is Dream, and today we finally have the NBA back. We have a 10 game slate here. Do recognize that there are 12 games tonight, and the two late games, the Lakers and the Kings game, are both not on this main slate on DraftKings. Though I will show the injury report for that on FanDuel here. So before I get started, though, can you guys smash that like and subscribe button? Hopefully, everybody had a good weekend from the NBA with All-Star Game and stuff. Now we're back, and we do have a pretty sturdy injury report, despite the fact that there's been no games for a few days. For the Magic, Fultz is out. For the Cavaliers, Mitchell is questionable. Porter and Thompson are out. For the Pistons, Stewart is questionable and Grimes is doubtful. For the Pacers, Smith is questionable and Nesmith is out. For the Knicks, Randall, OG, and Robinson are all out. For the 76ers, Batum is questionable. Embiid, Melton, and Covington are out. For the Suns, Beal is questionable. For the Mavs, Exum is out. For the Rockets, Eason is out. For the Pelicans, Ingram is questionable and Daniels is out. For the Bulls, Levine, Williams, and Craig are out. And for the Hornets, Ball, Williams, and Smith Jr. are out. For the late slate, the 2 game late slate on DraftKings, we do have an injury report there for it as well. For the Lakers, Reddish and Christie are questionable. LeBron, Wood, Vanderbilt, and Vincent are out. For the Warriors, Chris Paul is out and Peyton is questionable. For the Kings, Sabonis is doubtful. And for the Spurs, Barlow and Bassie are out. So do keep those things in mind. I do have 2 core plays here for you right now. This is subject to change as the day goes on, as we get more news and more information about how these games may play out. Looking at the Utah Jazz, Keontae George, and Walker Kessler both core plays right now. Utah looks like a very solid team to stack today, as they have a very good matchup and they are underpriced as a team. So we'll get into this though here. So we're gonna start with Keontae George for Utah. Obviously, assuming he stays in the starting lineup, he's gonna look like a really good core play today. Make sure he does draw that start, but he's been playing very well the last couple games since he's joined the starting lineup, and I look for him to continue that. He's underpriced considering that, though he definitely does carry some risk if he was to somehow not get those minutes, and he has had some floor games prior to that, but I do think he's a viable option, and he's nice and cheap. Looking at Walker Kessler, Kessler has joined the starting lineup after Olenek got traded, and he's played very well, with the exception of the last game against the Warriors, where he played less minutes, but that was, not really his type of game. This game should be with Charlotte because both these teams are going to uh, throw up a lot of junk, and he's got a lot of opportunity in this one, so should be able to get some rebounds and things like that. I do like this game and matchup for him. I think he's a very favorable option on the slate. Looking at some other options today, Trey Mann is an interesting play for Charlotte. Now, he is a GPP play, but since he's joined Charlotte, he's played 27 minutes or more in the 3 games, and he's scored a massive amount of fantasy points. I look for him to continue that here. He's hope he's underpriced based on what he's done the last 3 games, but that's really the only 3 games in almost 2 years he's really had it really explosive, with the exception of 2 games for Oklahoma City in that stretch. That said, when he does draw the start so far, he's done pretty well, so he's definitely worth a look from that perspective. Looking at Colin Sexton, he's also a GPP play today. He's still in the starting lineup. And that gives him some upside here. His floor is lower than some of the other options, but he's got a viable option and a very plus matchup against Charlotte. I think Utah is a very favorable matchup team to potentially start up with. I'm going to note, too, that Keontae George is a very good play because he's drawn the start occasionally throughout his career so far, and he's done well in those situations. Looking at Nikola Joker for Denver, he definitely has been very good lately. Obviously, he's been a little bit lackluster last few games for him, but he has triple double potential every time out, and this is going to be a really plus matchup. The concern here is that they blow them out too early, but looking at the last time he played Washington, he scored 78 fantasy points. He doesn't need to get that many to pay off here, but that definitely wouldn't hurt on this slate. Looking at Evan Mobley for Cleveland. Now, he has a very favorable matchup here against Orlando. For his perspective, his price has come down a lot, which makes him a decent play here, and he's played pretty consistent as of late since he's been back. So I think he's a viable option on the slate, though he does carry a little bit of risk, as his floor is a little bit lower than his price today, but he's definitely a viable option, especially in a home game where he should be able to be really solid. So I also like John Collins today for Utah. I think Utah overall is just a team that has some good upside in this matchup, and they're going to be a popular stack today, so he's definitely somebody to consider. Collins has been very consistent as a player, and he has some nice potential with the price point of where it's at, where he's only been under it a couple times recently. And then finally, we're going to look at Miles Turner for Indiana. Now, Turner has been up and down throughout the season, but as long as he has full complement of minutes, he's going to have some opportunity. He's also got a plus matchup against Detroit, who he's absolutely dominated this season and last for that matter, and so he has a lot of potential in this one, and he's nice and cheap today for his potential, at least in this game. He definitely carries some risk because he does have that super low floor, but his ceiling is probably going to make him pretty popular today. However, the center position is kind of tough today because we have quite a few guys in that scenario. Overall, this slate is pretty rough, to be honest. There's not a ton of value outside of Utah, and a lot of the quality plays are a little bit overpriced. So we'll have to wait and see if anything else opens up throughout the slate throughout the day, but hopefully it will. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and have a nice day, guys.